Hello and welcome to our community discussion. This is the 3rd of October, and today we have a very special guest. Is a master coach and a doctor. Has been to several medical conferences, has been involved in nutrition, and has worked here in the United States for several years, but felt that he would be better served to go and help his people in Peru. So Dr. Art, as we know him, is in Peru, has a very interesting discussion on these little mischievous leptins and having a balance in the different nutrients in our diet. And I can't wait to hear from you, Dr. Dr. Art.
Okay. I don't know which computer. I have two.
Okay, we have a very weak audio on you. If you could talk to the microphone a little bit closer.
Yeah. Let me see. Now, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Let's talk about leptins. Okay. It's a substance that come in foods that not many people are aware of. You know, the professional communities do not talk about it. I'm sure that most of them don't know either. You know, but I'll bring this to you because we are all at an age we have been brought to, so we can say, to an age in our birth, and you know, in comparison to our parents and ancestors, to a very interesting age of awareness, to be conscious, you know, because the way I look at it is time to end disease, you know, and for that, and in order to live free of disease, we have to learn, we have to know. So, oh, wait a minute, this is like backwards. I think I put it in, you know. Let me see. Okay. So life in C, everything that lives desires to live. Can you hear me all right?
Good now. Yes, good.
Okay. Animals, plants, we both desire to live. And everything, you know, every living thing, we possess an internal drive to survive. Plants, and we come into the war between plants and animals, and plants become predators. We consider plants our friends, really, you know, but plants, if we were to ask them, you know, we would be able to communicate with them. They really consider us as their enemies. But even as enemies, you know, the plants use us. You know, and we have a dilemma, you know, as plant eaters. The same foods that we eat, they have a way to discourage us from consuming them and their offsprings. Some of the vegetables, fruits, they contain substances that can harm us. Okay. And as an example is gluten, you know, and this paradox have been with us really for past 10,000 years and more. Yeah, it's an problem to certain degrees to many, you know. And gluten is a type of lectin. And this gluten can send us off running looking for solution to diseases. You know, I have lived in northern part of Europe, the islands, the British Islands, Isles. And you go to the Scottish, you go to the Irish, they get real, gluten really shocks them quick. You give an Irish bread, and they get hacked, we could say, quickly, because they're not used to, or their systems have not evolved enough to deal with this, with the gluten and other substances that come along with it. So there's a connection, with these chemicals and plants, like overweight and other things, and human, are not the only ones. Plants decide to live too. They don't want to be eaten, just like we do not want to be eaten. And so the plants have developed some really astute, I call it devilishly astute, ways to protect themselves and to their seeds, their progeny, from predators like ourselves and other animals. Así que, so this plants, some of them are friends, others are our enemies. Other plants can be prepared with certain methods, and others could and should be eaten only in season. Different plants. So we have a mortal game between predators and victims. In order for us to live, we must become aware of this game that we play, and the predators versus victims. Plants, as we know, arrived around 400 million years ago. That's long before insects, who arrived around 90 years after that. Different.
Arturo, are you showing slides? I was just wondering.
Yes,
we're not seeing anything more than just a thank you lectins slide.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. It says how about now? You see it?
No, I'm sorry, we don't. It could be.
Did he hit slideshow?
It could be on your other computer.
Yeah.
It just says thank you lectins. Maybe you can drive the slides from the other computer.
Let me see.
And we see a whole series of little teeny slides on the left-hand side.
Yeah. This is the very last slide, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Let's see, record. Sure, no, that's not it. Let me see. Let me stop share and reshare again, see what happens.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And maybe close the presentation on the other computer and open it on the one you're on now.
Yeah.
Let me try that.
Yeah, when you share, you can also just open the first share screen.
Okay, yeah. About now, can you hear it? Can you see it?
We can see the same thing. It still says thank you, leptins. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, if you can just go up and start the show.
Yeah. Let me start. How about now?
Yep, good.
Okay, let's see what happens now. Oops. Oh yeah, wait. Can you see it move it?
No, not quite. But you can go up to the top and just say start presentation or need
Presentación con diapositivas.
Yeah, no. Let's see, chat, share is supposed to be sharing, layout, share sound.
We're good here. We just need just just starting the presentation on your computers will work.
He needs to click the next picture.
No, he needs to go into presentación con diapositivas.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh, thing is this. Okay, pause, more. Share computer sound, stereo.
Oh no! All you need to click on start. Start share. That's all right. All you need to do is go to your screen and push the start presentation button, which is that little screen thing up in your upper left-hand side next to your redo button.
Video. Now I have video, chat, share, hold entire screen. Something happened there? No.
No.
No,
Nothing.
there you go. We did it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, anyway. All right, let's keep on. All right, now, so we're talking about everything desires to live. You know, we, the plants, animals, we all desire. And some of our plants we consider them as our friends, you know, but some of these plants consider us as their enemies, you know, the predators, you know. But plants, you know, I guess they kind of use, like we too, we also use some of our enemies, you know, for our own use. And that's what the plants seem to do. Así que, so these plants, you know, that we eat, have some ways of discouraging us from eating them and their offsprings. And they produce substances that can harm us. Gluten, as I was talking, is a component of it, is an example of this. You know, it's some people can really be affected with gluten, you know, which is a type of lectin. It's a protein. Okay, but some of us, you know, gluten can send us running off, you know, looking to solve, you know, the problem that gluten causes us. Yeah. So again, disease, overweight, all these things, you know, are chemicals that the plant uses as lectins that can cause these things in us, you know. And these plants, as I mentioned, decide to live too. And they have developed different substances. I call it astute devilishly ways to protect themselves, you know. And as the last as I mentioned, some of our friends, some of our enemies. Some the plants can be consumed, others can be prepared to be consumed. Different methods, and other plants can only be used in season. And plants appeared on this earth, according to our records as humans, millions of years ago, long before insects. And so before these predators like ourselves and other animals came to this earth, this earth must have been a Garden of Eden. You know, there was no need to run, there was no need to hide or fight. You know, everything, there was nobody trying to eat nobody else, attack nobody else, kill nobody else, you know. And insects and seeds, you know, and they come together then, you see, before the insects and animals, they can grow and prosper in peace. You know, nothing will impede their reproduction, you know. And but when insects and other animals came to be, you know, they became anyone's foods. the variety of species, the attractive and delicious tones of green and other colors in the plants, the animals like ourselves, we see them and we see them as our foods, even though we don't want to be eaten, they don't want to be eaten either. But animals like ourselves and other animals have wings and legs to propel them and hop off of them, jump over them, these plants. And there are strategies that they have developed to defend themselves, at least their seeds. From animals in all shapes, including from us, color is one of them. Their external texture is another one. The sticky stuff as resins and saps to entangle the insects and even ourselves when we touch them. We kind of don't want to eat them because of the stuff on the outside, on the outside cover of it. The external coating of it. Others, they attract grit and make them unpleasant to eat. And others have hard covers like coconut. And others have spines or thorns as artichokes. So those are ways that these plants, somehow have developed, or they come, so we let them live. And plants, really, there are chemical laboratories, and they have evolved weapons of biological warfare, to repel us, to poison us, paralyze us, disorient us. Yeah, see, that way, with their digestibility, is reduced. That way, they keep themselves alive, they protect their seeds, and their species can continue. That way, they keep predators at bay. Other plants use animals to do their bidding, to let them live. So these lectins, due to the fact that predators and plants were initially insects, plants developed lectins to protect themselves, so they would not be our dinner. So these lectins, are they toxic to us? There's a quantum size difference between insects and mammals, of course, even though both are subjected to the same effects. We become affected by these substances that the plants have developed to protect themselves. So neuropathy, as an example, take notice if there's some type of neuropathy in your life, in your body. These things are caused by these lectins, these defenses, self-defense of these plants. However, most of us will not be paralyzed like some of these other little animals, like insects, minutes after we eat them. But peanuts, and like as an example, they really have the potential to kill certain people because they're highly allergenic. However, we humans are not immune to long-term effects of eating certain plant components, due to the fact that we are made up of cells and millions of cells. So these harmful effects may take years on us humans to manifest the harmful effects of these plants. Plants are also master manipulators. The seeds are truly the babies of the plant. They become the next generation. Botanists and other scientists refer to seeds as the babies of the plant. And the seeds of plants can be divided in two groups. Seeds that plants want that predators eat them, the babies. Those seeds are encased in a hard shell, designed to survive a trip all the way down to the predator's GI tract. A big baby, such as a seed of a mango, might not be swallowed, but instead left behind too. Naked babies, these lack the protective coating like coconut and the seed of a mango and many of these seeds. This naked babies, the seeds, the plant does not want that the seeds be eaten. So they fall and germinate. They grow to be another plant. These trees bear their seeds enclosed in a fruit, so the animals will eat their seeds before they fall to the ground, the fruit before they fall to the ground. Their intention is that their babies can be eaten taken great distances from the mother plants, like the grapes. That way, the mother does not have to compete for the sun and nutrients with her baby plants. We eat these things and comes out in our feces. And then the plan, of course, is that we do these things out on the ground like all the other animals. But due to the fact that we eat things that our feces are not too what do you call it? Their smell are not too attractive because of what we eat compared to the feces of other animals that eat their foods that are required or that are programmed for them to eat, so the feces does not smell like we do, like ours. So a lot of these apples and grapes and these things, that way you see their terrain expand where they grow. The opportunity of survival of their species, it broadens their range on these seeds that we eat. Thanks to the protective hull, the seed remains intact as it emerges from the animal in its poop, including us, or should be, thus increasing their chance of sprouting. These almonds and all these things, walnuts. So there are messages from the plant to the predator to eat its babies. The plant uses various methods to call the predator's attention, encouraging them to eat their babies. Color is one method. The plant does not want the predator to eat its baby before its protective cover is totally hardened. That way, it uses the color of fruit, not yet ripe, generally green, to give the message to the predator, not yet. In case that the predator cannot interpret this signal, the plant often increases the toxin level in the unripe fruit to make it absolutely clear that the time is not yet right to be eaten. The plant uses the color on the fruit to signal the predator that it is ripe. The time is correct to eat. This means that the seed's hull has hardened, therefore the sugar content it is at its height. Makes it attractive to our taste buds. The plant has chosen to manufacture fructose instead of glucose as its sugar. And that's the point of a lot of confusion in a lot of the professional circles of not understanding the fructose in the process of glucose, the types of fructose, and this is well heard of in cases of diabetes, that they instruct the sufferers diabetes not to eat certain fruits, which is totally, as an error of the misconception of fructose. Fructose that comes from grains, and the fructose that comes from fruits. The fructose from fruits do not reach the blood, are ready to be used as a generator of energy, in difference to the fructose that come from grain, especially corn, which is a fructose that has been manipulated and changed from its original state in its raw state. Glucose raises insulin level, which initially raises levels of leptin, which is a hunger-blocking hormone. But fructose does not do that. So fructose does not take you to eat. What do you call it? Continue eating. So the predator never receives a message from his digestive system telling it is full to stop eating when we eat the fructose manipulated. So in ancient times, more seeds are spread when the mammal was eating fruits, our cousin. So would it surprise you that the great apes gain weight only during that time of the year when the fruit is ripe? That's when we should eat the fruit, when it is ripe. But our lifestyles today, and a desperate view of financial unrest and the confusion there is there, bring us to the state of mind and the manipulation of these fruits and foods, which takes us to the win-win situation for predator and prey. Plants use humans. The animal obtains more calories when it keeps eating more fruits and does more seeds. That way the plant has great opportunity to distribute more of its babies. That's not too beneficial for us, especially how we present these foods in the commercial era that we live. Calories from ripe fruit were essential for our hunter-gatherers, and it's essential for us too. Something happened. Oh, there. Until the last decades, the majority of fruits were accessible only once a year in the summer. However, today, to the commercial greed, provides us accessibility of fruits the whole year round, which is making us sick. So they tell you fruit is not good. That's a misnomer. because time is everything. Appearance can be deceptive. As mentioned, plants use color to communicate the message that its fruit is ready to be gathered, eaten, which means that the whole of the seed is ripe. That way it passes through the intestinal tract of the predator, who, and other animals intact. So green means stop. Red, orange, and yellow means go. Red, orange, and yellow signals sweetness and desirability to your brain. This is the concept that food marketers have long known and employed. Where I live, there's a lot of bananas grow, especially in the jungle, which I go a lot, in the Amazon area. But I live in a city, and right now I'm in Lima, which is a large city, it's the capital, and I see very clearly. When I go to Amazon, you don't see that ripe bananas in the market too much. You see more than ripe bananas. And here in the large cities, they bring the slightly unripe, not totally green, not totally yellow. When you eat fruits that are picked slightly unripe, they are given a blast of ethylene oxide. When it arrives at its destination. This ethylene oxide exposure changes the color of the fruit and makes it appear that it is ready to be eaten. But the lectin content, remember, the plant uses lectin to tell the predators like ourselves it's not ready to be eaten yet because of its seed. That's the wisdom of nature. So when we to these oranges, to these bananas, to these tangerines, and all these fruits and vegetables too, we spray them with ethylene oxide, the lectin content remains high because the protective coating of the seed never fully matured. And the fruit never got the message from the mother plant to reduce the lectin content. When the fruit is permitted to ripen naturally, the mother plant reduces the quantity of lectin surrounding the seeds, the fruit, and in its home. So that is the message. That way it communicates this information to the color of the fruit. So artificial gassing. When we harvest these plants, these foods, these fruits and vegetables before it's time, this artificial gassing changes the color of the fruit and the plant, but the lectin protection, the protection system remains in effect. As in knowing that the high lectin content is in eating fruit picked before its time is prejudicial to your health. Choose to eat the fruit that it is only in season. Plants use a divergent strategy to protect its babies. These grasses, the vines, and other plants that grow in open fields have already chosen a fertile spot in which to grow. They want the babies to fall on the ground and take root there. Those are naked seeds. They do not to be humans or other animals do not need to be used to take their seeds to other areas, which is the wisdom of the plant. That's why we eat their seeds and then we poop them, we can say that way, further away from the plant, or from where the mother plant. That way, after the mother plant dies in the winter, its baby will sprout in the following season. Replaces that way the previous generation. That's what grapes do. And many of these plants, to them, there's no advantage of being carried off. So the plant must discourage insects and other animals from consuming its babies and transporting them elsewhere. And that's what it does through its high content of lectin. When it's hard casing, instead of hard casing, the naked seeds contain one or more chemicals to do the same thing, the lectin. These chemicals weaken predators by paralyzing or making them ill, so they won't make the mistake of eating the plant again. Some of those phytates often reverse anti-nutrients. You see a lot of this, a lot of these places, a lot of these countries, a lot of malnutrition or this because of these phytates. They eat a lot of these phytates in their foods. The phytates, they prevent the absorption of minerals when it is eaten in the diet. Thus you have malnutrition. Another one is trypsin inhibitors. These trypsin inhibitors keep the digestive enzymes from doing their job. They interfere with predators' growth. I wonder sometimes why, one of the causes, why these people from especially Latin America and some places in Asia are not too tall. I don't know, it's just a thought. I'm sure it's not the only reason, but I'm sure it has its place there. Lectins, which are designed to disrupt cellular communication by, among other things, causing gaps in the intestinal wall, which is called leaky gut. Alessio Fasano, University of Maryland, discovered this sonulin, which goes further into why this lectin is so harmful to us. What is leaky gut? You see, the bottom part of the picture you have there is the wall of intestinal tract. It's only one cell thick. And you see on the left side, well, let me see what you're looking. Yeah, your left side, which says normal junction. You see the pathogens flowing on top. You see the normal gut. But you see part of the picture, leaky gut. So you see that one, it says inflammation. You see the left side, you look at the size of that cell, that one cell, becomes shortened. And again, I'm looking for somebody, to really deepen down in this study, and the fact that Latin American countries and their eating habits, basically grains, wheat, corn, rice, especially these three. They're shortened, they're fatted, their minds are affected. I'm not going to go further into detail, but I'm sure has a lot to do with the corn that has been eaten for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of generations. So their cells, their own mitochondria, and the whole cell structure. I don't know, just a thought. So these whole grains, they contain all these three defensive chemicals in the fibrous hull, husk, and bran. Wheat, rye, barley, corn, rice. They included tannins. They impart a bitter taste. Also contain alkaloids. They found in the nightshade family. All these things, they manifest themselves in inflammation. Inflammation. What is inflammation? Flame, heat, fire in your brain to start with, and then the whole of your body is inflamed, in fire. Now you're not able to function. Heat, stomach, itis, liver, and the rest. So these tomatoes, potatoes, eggplants, peppers are highly inflammatory. Nightshades. Why are they called nightshades? Because they germinate. They have the most energy germination at night. Don't ask me, don't tell me what's good or bad. I'm just giving the information. Now, some people are affected by these substances to a greater degree than others. So, do plants think? Do they plot to use us? Concocting chemicals to deter predators? Using animals to transport their seeds to other territories to expand their territory? Recent research revealed that it does. This plant doesn't just sit there and accept their fate. It deploys troops to defend themselves in an effort to stop predators like ourselves. Their intention. They focus their attention in one thing within them to create strategies that suggest that plants are capable of intention. We too, but we do not use that much in a conscious manner. And perhaps even learning. Yes, maybe. I don't know. Just a thought, an observation. So we have eatable enemies. That's what we eat many a times. But let us focus on the plant chemical you probably never heard of, lectins. Discovered in 1884. These are proteins of great size that are present on plants and in animals. They are crucial weapons in their arsenal of strategies to survive. Plants use them to defend themselves in their continual battle with animals like ourselves. 90% of humans are born with antibodies against lectins that are found in peanuts. Antibodies. Your body produces antibodies. Antibodies. And they react when you eat these things, peanut butter and peanuts and all these things. They're good. I like peanut butter. Every now and then But if your system, your body is not continually inflamed, you can go into your dirty little habits every now and then. Your body can deal with it every now and then. Lectins in seeds and grains and skins and rides and leaves of most plants, they bind themselves to carbohydrates, sugars, especially complex sugars called polysaccharides. In the predators, like ourselves, after we eat this process in the brain, salivary glands, and the kidneys and lungs, pancreas, intestines, circulation. That's where they attach themselves. That's where they go to. Lectins, they're the plant's defense. They're the army. They're the soldiers. Lectins, they also bind to sialic acid. This is a sugar molecule found in your gut, in your brain, between the nerve endings, in joints, and in all body fluids, including blood vessel linings of all creatures. Lectins sometimes referred as sticky proteins. Also gluten comes from glue. And because of this binding process, which means they can interpret messages between cells. They can interrupt the messages. In other words, you have divorces. You have poverty. All mental diseases, dementias, all these things, because the cells cannot converse with each other, signaling. Dr. Gary calls it. The conversation between cells. So they don't want to talk to each other. They can't talk to each other. They won't talk to each other. Become depressed because they're out of the community inside the brain of the human. And also other toxic and inflammatory reactions. Because when lectins bind to sialic acid, nerves are unable to communicate their information between them. You have all the problems, nervous problems, the fears, all the mental alterations, fight, violence. Russia, Ukraine, the largest wheat producers in the whole world. World War I in that area, World War II in that area. If we can call it like World War III, that area, not that yet. Lectins also facilitate the attachments and bindings of viruses and bacteria to their intended targets. Some people are more sensitive to lectins than others, so are more prone to viral and bacterial infection than others. They stimulate weight gain. And other health problems. That's the reason why wheat became the grain of choice, thanks to uniquely small lectin in wheat known as wheat germ agglutinin. And it's sold in the natural food world a lot. This one is responsible for weight gain. So plant would do anything to keep your mouth off its seed, of the action of the lectin in your body. Because when it uses it on its seed, that way it saves its babies, as we have seen. So by design, lectins either outright kill any animal that dares to eat it, or at the very least, make that animal feel unwell. and we do not understand that. We are so stupid. What did I say? In Spanish, I call them stupidified. We're so stupid. Stupid mind. Our brains are stupid, are full. In Spanish, it's stupido. Totally drenched, we can say, with these substances. And of course, the weekend enemy is more vulnerable. That's the war between plants and animals. Us. And the bread, and the noodle, and the corn cob, and the array of presentations we have invented or come up with. Animals learn. Insects and other animals learn fast not to eat any plant, any seeds that make them feel ill or that do not permit them to prosper. That animal decides that that plant is not worth eating. So they move to other areas, to other species. However, we, supposedly rational, instead of understanding the message that makes us sick, we invent something else to continue eating those things. Think of Nexium. Nexium is a stomach acid reducer. Or a drug. Oops. What happened there? What happened? What did we do last time? What did we do last time? No. Yeah. Oops. Yeah. Anyway. So we continue eating the substances. We have ibuprofen, lessens pain. Nexium reduces stomach acid. And we do that just to continue eating these things. Substances that are designed to destroy, causing us pain, or very least weaken us, kill us. Why do you think death exists? Those of us, when we look at everything, we go into the writings of cultural, religious practices. It tells you why will you die? It tells you in writings. Why will you die? To me, it's calling us to, hey, something that we're doing, it's causing these things, and it's up to us to stop this. How? Knowledge, wisdom. After you have the knowledge, you have to use your wisdom and your discipline to not destroy this body, because the stem cells are a line of what do you call it? A sign of continuity of life, among other things. I'm not going to go further into that, but that's what we're doing. What happened now? Oops. So we feed these things. We weaken us. We weaken our own the animals. We harm our bodies and the bodies of the animals that we eat. We give them to the animals. As a result, they also suffer in a similar manner than we do. And as a result of the diet that we feed them. We feed them so that so the people that commercializing these things, you know, sell them for more money. We feed them those things so that these animals can weigh more and we can make more money. Or, you know, we all want, you know, we are the sellers, some of are the buyers. We all in the same game together. It's not their fault. It's not our fault. It's all about doing these things. It's no one's fault. It's just our ignorance. So these animals are fed these things, and we have obese animals, like we have obese people too. And we still do not understand. Both soy and corn are loaded with lectins. Both are strange to the cows, causing them to develop such severe heartburn and pain swallowing that they actually stop eating. Yes, cows develop heartburn from these lectins, just as we do. And to keep their beast eating more of these things, farmers dose them with calcium carbonate, the active ingredient in almonds. In fact, half of the world production of this compound is added to the cattle feed to kind of calm the heartburn. That way, they ensure the cows continue eating their natural diet of corn and soybean. So we have fat cows and thick cows. This is a reality. That half of the production of this compound is added to the feed of these animals to control the acidity in the stomach. This assures the cattle growers that their cows continue eating their unnatural diets of corn and soy, so they can fatten, they can get more money, because they think there's no money. They want more. So, sorry that I had this in Spanish first. So, human health is affected. Lectins in beans, wheat, and other grains and certain other plants are especially problematic for humans. Our bodies are not ready to, not enough time has elapsed to allow our species to develop immunological tolerance to these substances, nor has sufficient time elapsed for the human microbiome to become fully capable to break down these proteins, strange to our bodies. So there are numerous health problems as a result of eating lectins. Gastric stress is only the tip of the iceberg. When people decide to avoid lectins, it's a solution to many health problems, such as painful joints, acne, skin spots, allergies, alopecia, anemia, arthritis, asthma, autoimmune diseases, including thyroid problems, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes type 1, multiple sclerosis, Crohn's, colitis, lupus, loss of bone mass, osteopenia, osteoporosis, dull minds, cancer, aphthis, chronic fatigue syndrome, chronic pain syndrome, polyps, cramps, swelling, numbness, dental health problems, dementia, depression, diabetes, prediabetes, insulin resistance, and then the list goes on and on, tiredness, fat and feces, fibromyalgia, gastroesophageal reflux, gastrointestinal problems, flatulence, pain, constipation, diarrhea, headaches, heart disease, coronary arterial disease, vascular disease, hypertension, infertility, irregular menstrual cycles, abortions, irritability, behavior changes, irritable colon syndrome, low count of immunoglobulin G, M, and A, low level of testosterone, low levels of white blood cells, lymphoma, leukemia, myeloma, multiple sclerosis, baldness, memory loss, migraines, nutritional malabsorption, low levels of iron, Parkinson's, peripheral neuropathy, polycystic ovary syndrome, skin eruptions, dermatitis, herpetiformis, eczema, psoriasis, children, babies, slow growth, tinnitus, ringing in the ears, explain vertigos, vitiligo, loss of weight, overweight. Well, the list goes on and on. So, my friends, beware lectins. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful exposition, Art. Thank you so very much. I know there's a lot of questions here. Many, saying, well, many of the foods that we have, which are not ripe or not ready or not suitable for human or even animal consumption, contain leptins. Well, how do we balance this out? How do we avoid it? How do we eat these good foods? And avoid diets that might be harmful to us, and that's one question that I have. But I'll go on to Lenny, and maybe she has another question related to that. Thank you. Go ahead, Lenny.
Thank you very much. This was very, very, very good. But I do have a questions about the fruits. You did say something about the fruits when you take it from the tree or whatever it is, when it's full grown and eat it. That's the best way. And you did say, if I understand you correctly, that the fructose in that fruit doesn't go into your bloodstream. That's the one question. And the other one is nearly the same, because I live in a place on this earth that I only have seasons apples and plums, which are fruits. All the other things we have are shipped from all over the world. And as we know, to get up here, it's picked from the trees when the bananas are nearly started to be green, or they are not full grown, or whatever it is. So that, if I should understand you correctly, we shouldn't eat that because it's not good for everything in your body. Is that correct? Did I understand you?
Correct. This is nature's language we have to understand, and the fruits, the plan was not that the earth was to be this way, I guess, the plan was the Garden of Eden, I guess at a certain extent, where we will live in areas and we would not have these supermarkets and things like that, that our foods are eaten out of season. See, and that's the whole problem. To the first question of Dr. Samuelson, we should choose to eat foods that are in season, and the fruit of the sugar of the fruit. Okay, when we eat them, especially apple, that's why in English it's an apple a day keeps the doctor away, because the apple has some substance. Apple is a pharmacy in itself. It kind of it stabilizes the whole microbiome of the body, starting in the mouth itself, the portal of our system. So when we eat an apple, it's not that the apple kills us in per se. The apple causes, creates a whirl of action down in our system that makes the heart, the liver, the stomach all function. And it's not applesauce and it's not apple juice. It is the apple, because the teeth, the tongue, all the enzymes and salivary glands, all these things have a function in this process, that the body produces all kinds of substances just from that apple. So the sugar of the apple is ready, or any fruit, bananas or whatever fruit is ready to be used. It does not have to be digested. It is absorbed by the system and used by the system. The fruit are the what's it called in English? To the liver is the, like, the sweetness of the liver. I forget what's called when you have something real sweet that you like. The fruit makes the liver function at its best. It is in Spanish called manjar. It's manjar. Manjar is like the, like apple pie or something like that. It's a manjar, something you really like, many people really like, so that's a fruit to the liver. The fruit goes directly to the liver and kind of causes this action in the liver. And when you put enough water, those two actions will do the same thing that you do on a strainer, or in a strainer, or with a strainer in your kitchen. It cleanses the filter, the number one filter in your body. That's why it is important for us to drink water in the morning and eat fruit in the morning. That way, the combination of the two will cleanse that liver, okay, that around 2 o'clock in the morning, every morning, it starts its function. What is its function? Separates the food from the no food that you ate in your system yesterday. That is the function of the water and the fruit together. So there's no liver problem. So that's the issue, this whole fruit things, and that's a confusion about this fruit, especially in process called, as I mentioned, with diabetes, and diabetes, the fructose of the corn, the wheat raises sugar level in the blood higher than sugar itself. Yeah, it raises to 72, and sugar only raises it to 62, 65. Hour and a half to eating. So that's the difference between the fructose of the liver of the corn and of the fruit. The fruits are rarely used. The fructose of the corn goes to the liver. It kind of makes it like what do you call it? It gets the liver, which is a strainer, a filter, and it covers it with a flour, if we can say it this way, like dirt, and makes it a cirrhosis, cirrhotic. Cirrhotic means when you have dirt and water, earth and water mixed, you get it like mud. That's what happens when you eat corn, especially continually, along with other gluten-containing grains like wheat, like rice, and all these things. Okay. Any question on that? Understand? Okay,
yeah, that's
Brent.
great. I appreciate. I've learned a lot already. That was, and especially I always knew about you're told to eat fruit in the season thereof, and that was very interesting. And a whole lot more things I've got to still digest that and let it all sink in. But one question: what kind of vegetables can we eat that don't have lectins?
Again, they all have this. They're a protective. Lectins a protective substance in all plants and animals. Some parts of the animals. Okay, animals that are eaten by other animals, especially. So it's not that they do or they don't, it's the timing. Okay, and broccoli and when I go to certain parts of where I am, Peru, where they don't have food or they don't grow, fruits, or they don't grow vegetables. You see, what I have to do is I take vegetables where I know they grow, and I eat them there. Or when I'm there, I only eat what's there, what grows there, in season, because your body can adjust to it. Okay, but there's not that this some the grains and, like I said, the nightshades and all these things, they contain their defense systems. So these defense arms and weapons are heavier, are more aggressive on us than others. So the way I look at it is this. Okay, I may be right, I may be wrong, but I look at it this way. Okay, our bodies have, if we maintain an equilibrium, okay, our bodies have the ability to throw out the harmful substances, chemical or natural substances, when we keep the porous structures of our withins clear, open, and porously, if we can say it that way.
Okay, so sweet potato, cabbage, and broccoli would be some of the safer vegetables to eat.
Of course, and cilantro and parsley, and kale, all these things, because number one, they have fiber. So the fiber is like a broom. Okay, it kind of sweeps things. All the covering inside of our porous walls are kind of broom swept with the fiber of the vegetables and of the fruits. That's why it is important for us to chew, okay, the fiber, so the fiber can kind of cover, the whole walls within our system and keep it porous. Once we get into habit in drinking 2 to 3 liters of water each day, and with lemon and with sea salt, creating the electrolytes, which is the action, okay, the movement, okay, that it is active and always present in our system. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other question?
I totally get everything you've taught us today about what we shouldn't do. I just have a question, because I live in the northern part of Europe.
Yeah,
and there are people that live far more north than I do.
Yeah,
and we get everything transported to us. We are not able to grow what you find natural, because it just doesn't do in our parts of the world. My question is now, could we soak our vegetables in what's it called, Gary?
Baking soda?
But yes, before we eat them. Would that help?
Well, there hasn't been many studies done on that, except that, okay, baking soda has its therapeutic action in our system. So any harm that may be caused by eating habits due to where you live or where you eat or whatever else, again, if you keep your system porous, okay, porously open, we can say it this way, and we keep an equilibrium at the pH level. See, I think, I've never been way up. My sister has, but I lived up in Scotland and all that part, which is not really that up high in planet, but still, I kind of find a way to eat a lot of, I call it broom, put broom within your system so it can kind of move the things,
Fiber.
and don't put too much, fiber, and don't put too much floury thing, because this will clog the pore structures within your system. And that's where the problem I see becomes. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay.
Well, very, very good, Art. I think we're a little bit short on time. In fact, we're far over time. But
No, should we not eat any grains at all?
well, here let me comment a little bit on what Dr. Arturo has said. Leptin family is a huge family, and there are many different types of leptins. And as Dr. Art had said, they're active during different cycles of the fruit's, maturity. And yes, the fruits are very divisive, as well as the vegetables and the plants, and they let those happen at one time. So maybe we had to ask the question: well, how do we know, what kind of plants we should eat at certain times of the year and such? There is actually an easy way to figure this out. I know that Dr. Art is going to comment, but an easy way to figure this out is that our own bodies, as you have found, are very sensitive, are sensitive to these things. So if we eat a fruit and we just kind of say, ugh, or if we eat too much of a substance, or if there's not enough variety of different types of substances in our diet, or if we're eating the same type of thing like corn all the time or soy all the time, it's not good for us, nor will our body tolerate that very often. So what do you say, Dr. Art?
Just a sec, Melanie, let me answer that thing for Melanie real quick. But Melanie, on grains, you got to make sure you stay away from the GMOs. But the other grains that have gluten in them, if you mix it with yeast and you make a dough and let that sit from 12 to 24 hours, the yeast has time to break the gluten down from the big molecules into the amino acids, and then it doesn't create the inflammation in your intestines.
Thank you. Good advice. Okay, Art, I'm sorry, you had a comment? We can't hear you too well, Art.
Alessio Fasano goes deep into the...
When you turn your head to the side, you're away from your speaker.
Oh, okay. Alessio Fasano from the University of Maryland and then Harvard and all this stuff. He tells us...
Can't hear you.
He tells us that no human being has the ability to digest, and going further, and going further.
I'm sorry, but when you turn your head just a little bit, we can't hear you.
Okay, going further into what he's telling us, we don't have the equipment, we can say this way, the structural equipment, according to what he says, and I can see that. Grains are the food of the birds, basically. Okay, they're seeds, the grains, and the birds. I don't know what, I forgot the name of in English, but the chicken, as an example, they have what is called buche. I forget what it's called in English. And in this part of their body, whenever they pick up a seed, okay, their body produces some substances so powerful that digest or decomposes the outer cover, the outside cover of the grain or the seeds, thus that way they have access to all to the nutritional components of that seed or grain in its raw natural state. We don't. We take the seed or the grain and we cook them and we destroy. Coction heat destroys. We destroy the substances, the nutritious substance of the grain, and we concentrate things that are not too healthy for us. So I can see why Fasano is telling us this. Okay, so again, if you eat it the way I look at it, which I do, you know, I do eat, you know, sporadically these things, because again, our bodies have built some type of protection system, we can do it this way, say it this way, against these substances. Okay, and our body itself tells us, you know, when we're sick, when we're this, when that, we tend to fall ill. It's telling us that there are substances that are not helping to maintain health. So these grains, you know, we do not have the ability to digest them. However, if we keep, as I mentioned, an equilibrium and pH and our pore world inside open, our bodies can get rid of these things. And as it was mentioned, if you were soak it in, I forget what the gentleman said.
Yeast, yes,
you know,
yeast.
Yeast, I'm sorry. It can dissolve these things. So you have solution how to deal with these things. I mean, we humans are so, you know, we want to keep eating these things, you know. And it's all right because he has something. However, you know, is these things, we are raw animals, we are live animals, you know, garbage in, garbage out, death in, death out, alive in, life out. You know, so it's to me, it's maintaining equilibrium, you know. And yes, when we cook food, we destroy a lot of things, but then we put other things, and I don't know, that's, you know, that's how I see it.
Yeah, remember the CHC diet is very, very wise. You all the greens, the colors, the blues, yellows, oranges, a huge variety of things. You know, we don't want to eat just one type of the micronutrients. To get the micronutrients we need, then the carbohydrates and the proteins, we don't have to, we can limit those. So we don't, you're not eating huge quantities of grains and carbohydrates all the time, or proteins all the time. And that's by far the best diet we can do, the CHC diet. I call it the perfect diet. Because if we do get our micronutrients, the body tends to be able to handle the rest.
And I would just say, I believe the word butcher Dr. Nunez used is compared to marrow.
Oh, I think the buche is the crop. They call it a crop.
Oh, that's because butcher, that's marrow.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's the crop. The crop is they go in there.
The crop is a little stomach right before the stomach, I guess.
It produces enzymes, power of enzymes. That's all what I call. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Very well.
All right. That's all I have.
All right, great. Do you have any other comments, Vicky?
No, not at all. Just to say, I'm going to take an hour or two to sink in, because there was a lot of very, very fantastic information. And it's just like digesting it all. You know, having my own special taste, like you taste the wine. So thank you so much, Dr. Nunez.
Great. Dr. Art, you've opened our minds and our understanding to something that we haven't even considered before. And many of us, and we're very grateful for that, by the way. Very, very interesting. And as we eat our foods, if they feel good, if they make us feel good, that's probably because they're in season. And you can almost tell, can't you? If you have a buffet, if you have a place, if the food is good, people will eat it. I noticed first, and then the stuff that's not in season or is not very good or doesn't have good oils, then the people don't eat that very well. But you kind of know a little bit if you're aware of your body, what's good and what's not. That's the only thing that I can say. And I know it's very unscientific, but maybe not, because we have millions of sensors and millions of ways that our body also sends us feedback as to what kind of foods are good for us and what kinds of foods may not be. So don't force it.
And please, everyone, don't forget we are back next Thursday with a new, very interesting theme. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm sure it's going to be interesting as well. So.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. Thank you, Art. It's wonderful to have you over here on the English side. Well, we'll see you a little bit later then. See you next Thursday. Thank you all.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Love y'all.
Bye.
See ya.
Keep
Love you
safe.
back.